Hello and welcome to the Llama Commerce Show. I'm Kurt Theobald, CEO at Classy Llama.
And I'm Brett Curry, lead strategist here at Classy Llama.
And as always, we are here to demystify e-commerce into actionable, digestible bites. And as always, we have our good friend Ott here, the one-arm table tennis trophy, which we'll be handing out at the end of the show to whoever delivers the most value, which will probably be me.
You think so?
As always.
If history is any sign, then I'm not sure that that's actually
That's because
correct.
we give it to the guest every time as an act of, like, we're sorry that we had you
goodwill
on the
and
show.
pity and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
But ultimately, that's why it sits on my shelf.
so this is all just a front to make people want to come on the show, but then you just hide it.
Yeah, we send them swag, though, so they feel better.
I see what's going on.
That's what you're CEO, right? Everybody just shows up to make you feel good, right?
Yes.
That's my natural style.
Yeah,
that's my natural leadership style.
So we're kind of throwing a curveball on the show today. We're going to take a topic that is completely related to e-commerce. It's a natural extension of e-commerce, but in some ways it's old school.
It's all backwards.
This is all backwards.
This is retro. It's retro day today on the show.
It is retro day, and I'm not wearing this banding on my forehead in honor of the show.
Oh, I forgot.
But I think it is fitting.
And I can't stop looking at it.
I think it is fitting for this show. So I have to wear this doctor's orders for about 10 days. I think I'm going to keep it longer than that. I feel like this adds to my persona and to my look. Makes me look tougher. Makes me look a little bit unpredictable.
Did you have a brain implant?
Yeah.
Nah!
It was a scuffle with a biker gang. Actually.
Right.
No, I got in a fight with my car door. It's a long story, very embarrassing. But anyway, I'm on the mend. So it's all,
I'm really
it's all
glad to
good.
hear that. We should probably introduce our guest now.
Let's introduce our guest. So
quietly.
Our guest today is a gentleman who knows his way around the e-commerce circles very well. He is a merchant, which is awesome. Everybody always loves getting a real live merchant on the show rather than just listening to us banter back and forth. And so we have Bill D'Alessandro on the call, and Bill has 5 brands now, selling lots of stuff in lots of ways. Very creative. He's also on the e-commerce podcast circuit. He's been a guest on.
A big deal, guys.
Wow. Podcast.
Big deal around
Never
here.
heard of that.
Yeah. Well, he's on the e-commerce fuel on this one, so that's kind of a
Udarian, his deal. It's almost as cool as ours.
Almost as cool, probably better.
Love you, Udarian. Probably more people watch your show than ours or listen to you.
So, Bill, man, welcome to the show. So excited to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It should be fun. Yeah, I like doing the Andrew's podcast doesn't have video, so I can't make weird faces at him, or I can make weird faces at him while I talk to him. So I got to compose myself a little bit. I don't have a Band-Aid. I tried to look presentable, but I didn't realize that presentable was optional.
Yeah.
Wow. Ouch. Burn. Hashtag burn.
That was good. Yeah, we got the trucker hat and the Band-Aid here, so really we could get in a bar fight at any time.
Second bar fight.
Another one, exactly. So, Bill, we've got Bill on the show today to talk about something that he knows very well, and that is how to get your product. Once you've conquered the online world, you're selling with your online store, you're doing well, when to consider, and then how to go about getting your product in brick-and-mortar retail stores.
And can I just say, I love this topic. And the reason I love this is because a lot of brands have come online selling because they're a manufacturer or something like that.
Yeah.
And so their question is like, well, how do I do the whole B2B thing online and like migrate my whole B2B operations online? But instead, we're taking it from the angle of you started selling online and now you're like, okay, I want to get the other 90% of the pie of stuff that aren't purchased online.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's something like 6%, 12%, something like that of all retail sales are online. The rest are in stores.
Yeah, so think of all the stuff you guys buy online, and it's so much, but then think about all the other stuff you buy offline. There's so much more of the world, and not just us, the nerds that buy everything on Amazon. I mean, think about your mom, like how much stuff she buys offline, and you're missing, if you're not selling in stores, you're missing 90% of the economy.
Yes, totally.
There's all this heat, like, let's go after this 10%, the e-commerce part, and everybody's like, hey, let's forget about old school economy. And after you've figured out how to do e-commerce, you can take a lot of those same processes once you know how to do business in an e-commerce perspective, and you can take it offline and be optimized and go offline and start to go after the old world of commerce.
Love it.
So, Bill, how did you actually end up like becoming the kingpin of all things B2B understanding, knowledge, and wisdom?
And give your background too, because I know everyone wants to hear the Bill story about how you got into e-commerce and all of that.
Like many things, it involves a lot of trial, a lot of error, and a couple successes eventually. So I'm started doing e-commerce with my own brand 5 years ago in 2010. I started with one product. It was a skin cream for a skin condition called keratosis pilaris. Have you ever seen people with red bumps on their arms right here, on their thighs? It's called keratosis pilaris. There weren't really, it was one of those things you end up down a Google hole and you realize, man, nobody is selling anything for this condition and it affects 50% of adults. And I went, man, I got to learn about skin cream. So I have no background in personal care at all, but I learned about it. I mean, now I know a shitload about skin cream. Can I say it's shit on here? Is this a PG?
Definitely not. No, I have to go back and edit that. That was over the line.
Well, this is a PG-13 show. It's all good.
But that means one of the two of us has to be diseased with whatever the thing you just said. That you just harvested. No,
it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, I can feel it. Oh, yuck! Red bumps on his arm. That's Brett. Disease.
And 80% of teens are. So chances are one of you grew out of it if you don't have it now.
I did.
I think I may have had it too.
No, I've never had it. That's even better.
I gotta get some of this cream, man.
Well, if I get the trophy, maybe I'll send you some cream in exchange. I'm losing you guys.
Like this. Okay, good.
Have I lost you guys?
So you started with this one.
Bueller?
Well, this is the longest dead
Google
space.
Plus. Oh, there you go. There's
oh my
Bill.
gosh, Bill, did you connect your internet back in?
Maybe. I don't know. I tried to turn it down to low quality.
Ran out of AOL minutes again.
Yes,
We won't blame you. Anyway, we said some not nice things about you while you were gone.
I figured. The plus part of this is now I can't see Brett's Band-Aid anymore. You're so pixely.
So now I won't distract you. Okay, good. I'm telling you, I look tougher.
So where was I?
Went from one product to then growing this e-commerce empire.
One product, one brand, and have since sort of grown through acquisition. I've introduced additional products. I've bought 2 companies. Now have 6 brands, 60 or 70 products at last count. Sell all on my own.com, sell on Amazon, and also sell in 200 retailers or so.
200 retailers. Good for you, man.
Across all of our brands. So I started very much online, and I didn't do the first 3 years of my business, didn't sell in any retailers at all. And just in the last 2 years, I kind of realized there's this whole big world out there getting my product in front of people in retail stores, and we've grown that way. And I've learned it from, I told you guys in the pre-show, I didn't know anything about selling wholesale at all. So I basically just took a case of my product, walk into the closest store that I thought should sell it, and said, you guys should sell this. How do I make that happen?
I love that mindset of let's just get started and we'll figure it out as we go. And so rather than having to buy a book and talk to lots of experts, you just went out there and started talking to people. I love that.
Yeah.
But when was it that you first, because this was instructive as well, when did you first realize, hey, I should probably try to sell these products at a physical store?
Well, I realized it when we launched a product called Ski Bomb, and Ski Bomb is it's windburn protection for your face. So when you go skiing, you don't get that goggle tan, you don't get all chapped in red here and you're bright white here. And that's just not a thing people buy online. They're at the slope and they're like, crap, I forgot my sunscreen. I need some sunscreen. I'm going to walk into a store and buy whatever is there. And we can be better than what's on the shelf, but we got to be on that shelf. And I was living in Colorado at the time, and so I basically we launched this product and I said, we got to get into stores. I drove up to Vail and Breckenridge. I literally went door to door and I said, I need to get this product on your shelves. How do I do that? Half the time, the employee was $8 an hour employee. I had no idea what the heck was going on. And half the time they were like, we get salespeople in here all the time, get the hell out of my store. But, occasionally I got someone who was willing to talk to me. And the first 10 people didn't buy it, but I learned why. And then I was able to go back and make a sell sheet and make sure the pricing was right. I learned all the ways that all the reasons people said no to me on the first couple until I finally was able to iterate the offer enough to get people to say yes. And then somebody bought it, and I was like, well, shit, what now? Like, when do you pay me? Turns out the wholesale people don't pay for 30 days. Like, they get to basically sell it all through before they pay you. And how do I keep track of the people who have paid me? And, now they're asking me for more discounts. And what do I say yes to and what do I say no to? And it was this whole world of doing business that is not the same as B2C. So I picked it up as I went, and I've been doing it for years now. And there's actually once you learn the way it works, it's no different than any other kind of business. And you definitely need software to help you. There are ways to sort of bring an e-commerce mindset to B2B commerce. But the key is to not be scared of it. It's a big world out there.
So Bill, if you could go back in time and talk to the old Bill that was living in Colorado and about to make that trip up to Vail and Breckenridge, I love both of those places. We love to ski. I have found, though, that some people, you would think that if you lived in a ski community and you worked at a ski shop, you'd be a pretty pleasant person. Like, you're on a mountain. Your whole job is recreation. There's a lot of rude people. And anyway, that's another topic. But if you could give yourself any advice and say, hey, do this, don't do that, what would some of those pieces of advice be?
The key thing, it was more making sure the offer, if I could have skipped like 6 months of pain in the ass if I knew what people were looking for. And kind of some of the key takeaways were, the price had to be right. If you go to wholesale, whatever you're selling for on your website, you need to divide that number by 2. And that's what you're going to sell it to a store for. So a store gets 50% off retail, which seems like a lot, and it is a lot. But keep in mind, they got to run their business too, and they need a 50% gross margin. So
what did you find when your pricing wasn't 50% off? Was it just an automatic no?
Oh, it's instant automatic no. Like, they can't even do it because they can't make money selling the product. I mean, I came in initially at like 30% off or something, and they were like, unless you get to 50, I got 10 other things I can put on the shelf that do give me a 50 margin. So I'm not even talking to you. So but then I was like, shit, if I give them 50% off, I'm not going to make any money on this product. So I had to go back and reformulate it to get my costs down so I could sell it at 50% off retail. So when you're thinking about going to wholesale, the first thing you got to do is look at your margin structure and say, can I support a 50% off retail pricing for these guys? So that's sort of like table stakes.
Is that retailers don't care about quality, they just care about price, and they will force their suppliers to produce different products in order to get their margins big enough. That's
100% true. I mean, it absolutely is. Like, I know but they can't afford to sell anything to make less than a 50 margin because there's 10 other people right behind you that are selling it that do have a 50 margin and that they'll put on the shelf. Because the reality is, someone walks into the store and wants to buy some sunscreen, they're going to go, oh yeah, it's over there. And whichever one's on the shelf, that's the one person is going to buy. So what they want to do is put on the shelf the thing that has the best margins, and you've got to compete. So that's the 2 things retailers care about are their margin and then their velocity, which means that if they're going to put a case of your product on the shelf, how fast is it going to move off the shelf? How fast can we get another one on there? Because even if they're making a 50 margin, they sell 1 case of your stuff every month. Your competitor sells 1 case a week. That portion of shelf space is much better spent on the competitor that moves 1 case a week.
And how did you convince someone back when you had no velocity, you had no numbers to prove because your product wasn't on shelves anywhere? How did you talk people into giving it a try?
I gave it to them for free. So I said, because you're exactly right. I had no credibility at all. Like, they had no idea whether I was full of shit or not. And I had no idea whether I was full of shit or not. Right. Maybe it wasn't going to sell. So I said to them, hey, tell you what, here's the first case is on me. Put it on your shelf, see how well it moves, and you pay for the second case. And it took me a while to figure that out. But that was sort of the thing that unlocked it at the early days, so I could tell, so they could take a chance without taking a chance. Especially smaller retailers.
One of the things that we were, we have in this outline. By the way, Bill made his own outline, which is why it's so immaculately organized. Look at this thing. Look, I mean, we don't go off the notes ever, but I keep looking at them every once in a while.
It makes me feel good.
It's a bunch of great stuff.
It's
just
stuff.
Really good. We're going to skip the whole thing about why you should sell wholesale, because the thing is, like, if you're out there and you're thinking about selling wholesale, or rather you're not interested in it, like, you're not close enough to the water here. We got so much good stuff that Bill has to share. We're going to skip that. So you need to get to a place where you can get it in your head that you need to sell wholesale. Okay? Let's all. Because you're looking happy.
Jose.
Hey, there he is.
Hey,
So
I'm back.
Bill, that's cool. Hey, we made fun of you again. The question is, how do you build your opportunity list when you're going out to get the wholesalers? Where do you look? Where do you go? Where do you find your opportunities?
So obviously, whatever your widget is, you're going to have some idea in your head as to what sort of retailer is going to carry it. If you're making barbecue sauce, it's going to be grocery stores and stuff. If you're making sunscreen, it's going to be on mountain retailers or beach shops or whatever. So nobody needs me to tell them where their product should be sold, but specifically where. Your best bet is to start with the mom and pops, because your chances of, if you've got a new brand of barbecue sauce, walking into Safeway and going, hey, carry my barbecue sauce, 0% chance, no way. And the reason is they want to see first that it moves at mom and pop. So they won't even talk to you until you can say, I have several hundred mom and pop stores selling this through. This is the velocity. This is the pricing. This is how it works for them. It will work at scale in your store. So immediately cross off all of the names you've ever heard of and go down the street to your core market where you can meet the owner and say, hey, Bob's Organic Grocery should carry my organic barbecue sauce because it's a perfect fit and the first case is free. Put it on your shelf, see if it moves. Bob puts it on his shelf. Hopefully it sells out. And then the other thing is, like, Bob's not going to call you back. He's got 2,000 things in his store. Like, he's not even going to notice your barbecue sauce is gone. So you've got to say, gave Bob a free case a couple weeks ago. Hadn't heard from him in a little while. I should probably call him back. You call him back and you go, Bob, how's the barbecue sauce selling? And hopefully he goes, well, shit, we're all out of it. So, we need to buy some more. Turns out now that I checked. So you got to stay on top of these people much more than you would, with a B2C deal. Like, you sell somebody a widget, you ship it to them, that transaction is over. I mean, you want them to come back. There's value in repeat purchases, but that transaction is basically over. When you sell a retailer a case of your product, that transaction is not over as far as your responsibility until they sell it through. So
I think what Bill's trying to say is that B2B is a lot of work, and you actually have to be kind of persistent.
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely.
I thought it was easy, so that's too bad.
Yes, 100% true. But there's software that you can use to remind yourself, hey, this guy has product on the shelf. I haven't talked to him in 3 weeks. I should call him. And that's
right, like Shopify or Magento or Demandware, right?
Yeah, well, these same principles, and I'm trying to avoid. I know you're baiting me to pitch my product, and I'm trying to avoid.
I just baited you. I opened the door wide open.
All right. So the very quick version is, we'll allude to this throughout the show, and I'll give, before people realize by the end why they need software. But OrderCircle.com is software that my business, Elements Brands, built first internally to help us manage this wholesale process of going to stores, following up, invoicing them, making sure we get paid, tracking their velocities, things like that. And think of it as a Shopify for B2B e-commerce. So you'll still run your Shopify store, your Magento store. I know how much you guys love Magento. You run a Magento store, and then you'd also run an Order Circle portal for your wholesale guys. Because, Bob's grocery store might get 50% off, but then by the time you go to Safeway, they might negotiate you down to 60% off. And you need to show them different prices. You need to show, Safeway might pay in 30 days. Bob might pay up front on credit card. You need to be able to support that for different types of customers. So Order Circle is software that helps you to do that in the same way that Magento would help you sell B2C.
So I think it's really cool because it's like that classic example of someone building a product for themselves that solves their own problems and then sharing that with everybody else that has the same problem. So I think that's really cool.
Totally.
I haven't looked at Order Circle yet, but I'm very excited to take a look at it and find out how Magento runs Circle around Order Circle. But I have a feeling that there are probably some really cool features in there that differentiate it. But anyway, so I know I opened the door way out of order, but
what is going on with my internet here? It's killing me.
Hello, D'Alessandro.
Bill.
Hey.
Bill smiling. Bill, you're smiling all the time.
We love it.
Yes. Can you hear me now? I turned off.
So now you're good. yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
He's even smiling in the picture.
This is just what I look like all the time.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, Kurt was asking. Okay, so now an order is placed. Now what? Now what happens?
So for example, an order is placed on your B2C store. You just fulfill that order, right? They've paid via credit card. You just rock and roll. You pack and you ship it to them. But if an order is placed, a B2B order, let's say that, for example, they carry 2 flavors of your barbecue sauce and they only place an order for 1. You're going to probably want to review that order and say, hey, Bob, did you mean to place an order for both kinds of barbecue sauce, or is one of them not selling, or did you forget? Like, could we add the other one? Or, for example, let's say in a better scenario, he carries 2 flavors of barbecue sauce. You've just introduced a third. You might want the chance to reach out to him and go, hey, we're running a deal. If you add, this third flavor to your order, we'll give it to you at even more of a discount, or the first case is free, or whatever it might be. Because when you're working with B2B, you really want to put your eyeballs on every order, because they're much bigger orders. When you're doing B2C, small order, you can't possibly put your eyeballs on every order. But when people order thousands of dollars of product from you at once, you're going to want to put your eyeballs on that. Also, just to make sure that you've got that many widgets to send to them. I mean, you need to reserve some to sell B2C on your website. And if you got 1,000 in stock and Bob's Organic Grocer orders 1,000, before you accept that order, you need to call him back and go, I can only sell you 500 right now, because I got to save the other 500 for my other retailers or my B2C customers. So there's an approval process built into Order Circle where it pings you or your sales rep, whoever your company handles Bob, whoever Bob is assigned to, and it says, hey, Bob placed a new order, make sure it's okay. And then so you can approve it, and then you can run your process of fulfilling and shipping it. The reason we built Order Circle, all of this sounds so basic, right? Everybody listening that does e-commerce is going to go, well, yeah, after the order comes in, then you put it in a box, and then you send it through the mail, and then the tracking number goes to the customer. None of that is table stakes in B2B. B2B is 20 years behind. So this idea of a B2C going online, clicking on the things that you want and pressing place order is typically totally foreign in B2B. People are faxing. When I first started, everybody wanted to fax me their POs, insistent on faxing the POs.
This wasn't that long ago, right? We're talking about like a few years ago.
Yeah, and it's still, nothing has changed. Still people want to fax POs. And then they want to.
So you're not seeing that come around at all? You're not seeing this adoption of more online ordering? It's still kind of an old world in most ways?
I am starting to see it. It is beginning. It's very, very slow. Even to have people email in orders, that's a huge win. Like for them to send a filled out spreadsheet of here's what I want to buy, that's like the future to a lot of these people. They're just not used to it. As the people that are younger, begin to own more retailers, it's gonna evolve, because all of these people are B2C customers in their personal lives, and then they come to work and they just travel back in time 20 years for some reason. So I don't know why that is, but it's coming around. Order Circle, it helps you do things like, hey, when you ship this, email them the tracking number. That has eye-popped so many of my retailers. Like, oh my God, I knew it had shipped and I got a tracking number. Like, obviously this is table stakes, but they're like, man, I love that. We can log in and place our own orders automatically, and we can log in and retrieve our invoices automatically. I don't have to call you and say, hey, send me a copy of this invoice. You can keep my credit card on file and charge me 30 days automatically after it ships. They really like it. It's weird. They didn't even think it was possible to do their work purchasing in the same way that they could do their home purchasing. But obviously,
I'm sure for your mom and pops, which is where most people would start, that they're probably the worst offenders in a lot of ways in terms of being behind the curve a little bit.
Absolutely. Once you go to Whole Foods and Safeway, they are not much, but more technically advanced. They have something called EDI, which is sort of a 20 years ago data interchange format. It's based on FTP. It's very, very retro, but it does work, and it is electronic, which we're working to support with Order Circle too. But for people that are dealing with mom and pops, in order to support EDI, it's like 10 grand implementation. So no mom and pop retailer or more, and plus $1,000 a month. No mom and pop retailer is ordering via EDI. They're all faxing and emailing. So Order Circle lets you, as the brand, provide a portal where those people would just go, wholesale.yourbrand.com, and log in, see their customized pricing, see what they've ordered before, place their order.
So let's talk about getting paid, because obviously I think that's an issue that I think a lot of people would be apprehensive about what kind of terms am I going to have to offer? How is this actually going to work?
Not to mention keeping track of all the different terms
keeping
you
track
offer
of- yeah,
to
yeah,
different,
yeah.
You know, to different B2B, different, retailers.
Yes.
Yeah. So the bottom line for you to remember when you're going to B2B is that every retailer is going to push you as hard as they possibly can on terms, because put yourself in their shoes. They're going to buy a whole bunch of stuff. They're going to put it on their shelves and wait till it sells. If they have to pay for all that stuff up front and it just sits on their shelves the whole time, that's really expensive for them. That's a lot of money tied up on their shelves. So what they're going to do is push for you and say, guys, we're going to pay for this 60 days. It's going to sit on our shelves for 60 days before we pay you for it. And then their hope is that they've already sold it all by 60 days. And it really reduces their float, how much they have to carry in inventory. So they're going to push you as hard as they can possibly push you. You can push back. The most standard terms are what's called net 30, which means you pay the order in 30 days after it ships. So you ship the order, you start the 30-day clock, and you send them an invoice. The invoice is due in 30 days. That's sort of your most standard. A lot of mom and pop shops will say, I don't care about 30 days, but I want you to take my credit card. You as the brand might not want to do that because you're going to pay 2 or 3% to accept that credit card. But on the flip side, the mom and pop is like, well, we get rewards points and we get 30 to 45 to 60 days to pay on our credit card. So we just want it to be on credit card. Initially, a lot of brands are reluctant to take a card for wholesale orders because I've already lopped 50% off my price. Yeah. Now I got to give away another 3% on card processing fee. But what you realize pretty quick is that if there's one thing that's worse than losing 3%, it's trying to chase down a mom and pop retailer in Oregon for $400 is the worst. So it's easily worth the 3% processing fee just to get paid and be done with it. Some people will want net 30 and to pay via credit card. Some people want net 60. And so it typically shakes out, all right, you can have 30 days and you send me a check, or you pay me right now with credit card.
Do you ever do direct bank transfer or anything like that to lower your transactional costs?
You can do bank transfer. We're working on implementing bank transfer through Order Circle right now. But if you're a small business, it's, you probably don't have the means to ACH debit somebody, just right now without software to help you do that. So we are working to launch that in Order Circle.
Nice.
So
That's
you
awesome.
Save that 3%.
Bill, what do you typically shoot for in regards to terms, if you're okay with talking about that? I mean, and it may vary from product to product or who the retailer is or how motivated you are, but I mean, what do you shoot for? What do you advise people on?
So as far as me selling my products to retailers, so I look for, there's one of two buckets I put you in. If you are trustworthy, if I feel like you're large and trustworthy and I can call you on the phone and be like, where's my money? I'll give you 30-day terms. And if you get 30-day terms from me, you have to send a check. I'm not going to give you 30 days to pay and then eat 3%. However, if I think you're kind of squirrely, I don't know, the owner's hard to pin down, or it's not a lot of money, if it's like a couple $100 and I don't want to be wasting my time seeing if a check for $200 came in, I take credit card up front. So I kind of put you in one or two buckets: credit card up front or net 30, pay via check.
So what about returns though? How does that differ from standard B2C?
So returns, this is where one of those times where it comes down to it's all in what you negotiate. So if you go to, for example, Safeway, you're selling barbecue sauce at Safeway, they are going to insist on what they call putback, which is if any of it doesn't sell, within, pick a time frame, 6 months, they can return it to you for a full refund, at your expense. So now you're beginning to see why, as the brand, your responsibility doesn't end until they sell it, because you could get it put back on you, and companies go bankrupt that way. They go, I got into Safeway or Whole Foods or whatever, and they gear up their production. They make a whole bunch of inventory and they send trucks of stuff to Whole Foods, and Whole Foods writes them a big old check. And then in 6 months, Whole Foods goes, we're going to need that check back. And here's all your inventory. And it's all 6 months old now and almost spoiled. And then they go bankrupt. So it's all, but that being said, mom and pop stores typically do not require that.
Right.
So you're going to want to write up what's called a wholesale agreement. And if people want to email me, I have a template one. You can email me, bill@rebelco.com. And I will send you a sample wholesale template with policies, that are the wholesale template I have is very down the middle. It's not advantageous to the retailer is not advantageous to the brand. It's kind of market, as you would say. It's very, nobody's going to be offended by it. You'll be protected. The retailer will be protected, et cetera.
Mutual protection.
So, Bill, what was that email address that broke up there? Bill at
rebelceo.com.
rebelceo.com. Wow, it's almost like your stupid Band-Aid on
We'll send you a Band-Aid and a trucker hat.
Awesome.
So, Bill, this has been awesome information.
Really good.
I think the most important things we've learned is that retailers are the worst. They are the worst.
They're the worst. The worst.
They just drag money out of you, and they want the returns policy. They want everything. They want crappy products. It's
they
the
will
worst.
Beat you up.
Yeah.
But here's the caveat: is why are they the worst? It's because they hold all the cards. Because they're the gateway to 90% of the commerce in the world. If you can figure out how to deal with these people and get on the shelves, you can 10x your. I mean, you become instantly exposed to so many more buyers. I mean, you think about some of the iconic e-commerce brands like Bonobos. You guys know Bonobos? They make pants, shirts. Love Bonobos. Andy Dunn, when he started Bonobos, pounded the table on, I'm going to build a menswear brand online. We're not going to do any retail. Online only. Men don't want to go into stores. Online only, right? They got to about $20 million in sales, and they kind of hit a ceiling. And what happened about a year or two ago? They sold about 20% of the business to Nordstrom's, and now they're in Nordstrom's, they're in Macy's, they're all over at retail. What you'll find is that as you're building a brand, you will hit a glass ceiling, and you have to go retail to get really big. You have to go retail. It's just where the buyers are.
To those evil retailers that hold all the cards and have all the control. But you retailers out there, you're the worst, and we're going to sell through you and make a bunch of money because you're the worst.
If it's any consolation, retail is a horrible business. I mean, their margins are garbage.
It's so hard, hard to be a retailer.
Oh, that's true. Okay, now come on, retailers, we're sorry.
Put yourself in the shoe of the retailer.
You just got a tough deal. You got to demand 50% margins. Okay, we understand. We got your backs. Okay. When I make a great
I don't believe you right now.
No, I don't either. So hey, Bill, how do they find out more about this? About Order Circle? About you? You know, how can they get more information, more of the good stuff you've been offering us?
Yeah. So if you want to check out Order Circle, just go to ordercircle.com. There's a video on there. I just came up with this on the spot. If you saw us on Llama Commerce, you can put Llama in, and we will give you 25% off for life on Order Circle.
Now we're talking.
You need Order Circle. And then if you just want to hear more from me, I'm at rebelceo.com, which is my personal blog. And you can cyber stalk me there if you want to.
Amazing.
I'm in. I'm doing that.
Yeah, and that, by the way, that's a super valuable offer that Bill made, just so everybody knows. If you missed it, that wholesale agreement, that's not a small thing. That's an expensive document. If you get it done right, I assume that he did. So that's a really huge offer. And if you're seeking to go B2B, or if you even just want to mash it up against the wholesale agreement you have currently, I mean, what a deal. So email Bill at rebelceo.com. And anyway,
it's time to award Ott.
Yeah, I mean, he did all the work. I didn't do anything. Look at this. Look at these notes, and then he gets on here and he smiles all the time and makes us all feel good.
Bill, congratulations. You win Ott. We'll keep it here, of course, but you win it.
It's a traveling trophy that travels always onto
just from there to here. Really.
But we will also send you some swag, which we send to everybody, and
I'll throw in a Band-Aid.
And maybe a trucker hat if you really want that.
A llama-themed Band-Aid is what I really want.
I was just thinking that with the llama logo on the Band-Aid. We got to do that.
Jesse, swag. That'll be perfect for llama kids. Band-Aid. The kids will love that, and Bill. Bill will also love it. He's kind of childish, but he'll love it too.
So, Bill, awesome information, man. We'd love to have you back on the show sometime. Appreciate you being willing to share your template and all that. So, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so everybody else, all of our other fans, you can tune in next time. We do this pretty much every Friday. We got
an awesome show next Friday.
What's our show next Friday?
I'm not going to tip my hand.
Oh, my gosh.
It's going to be a good one. You guys
Yeah. Now Brett's holding all the cards. Get that connected to the whole show.
That's great.
Hey, so stay connected with us on Twitter, on Google Plus, and wherever else that we are. I don't even remember all the YouTube. That's the big one.
Podcast.
They're all over on YouTube. The podcast
on the side of I-40. You can find Kurt there.
Well, yep, that's true.
44, probably. Yeah.
Probably on 44. Yeah, old Route 66.
Yeah.
So until next time, though, you all stay classy.
Stay classy.